Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Katie Scott, and welcome back to the Power of Choice podcast, where we dive into topics surrounding the decisions we make and having that power to do that shapes our lives, relationships, careers, and everything in between. Every day, you and I, all of us, we're faced with choices that have the potential to transform our world and make things so much better for us. We'll explore how we can make the most of every decision we make. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. So let's dive right in. Today, our podcast is entitled My Boundaries Are Not to Hurt You, but They're to Save Me. How many of you would agree today that we cannot control other people, right? We can't. Impossible. People are going to do what they do and be who they are. That's just how it is. However, the good news is we can control how we respond to other people's behavior. It took some time for me to get this, right? That I wasn't going to hope real hard and then a person's behavior would change toward me, or cry real hard and hope it changes. I had to realize the power that I had in the freedom of the knowledge that I cannot change you. I cannot change another person. And once I grabbed a hold of that and understood that, wow, that's been a good thing for me in my life. Because of this understanding, I have been able to maintain a more harmonious existence within myself, my family, my marriage, my relationships with other people and situations that come up in my life. And you can do the same. If you may already be doing it, but if you aren't, you can get there too. Today is just going to be a great reminder of this for some and maybe new knowledge for others. So, anybody ever struggle with wanting people to like you, treat you fairly, treat you the way you deserve to be treated, but they simply refused? And you kept giving them space in your life, giving them the benefit of the doubt, only to be hurt over and over again. Well, today, on this subject, we want you to get to the place where you tell yourself, well, no more of that. You see, we cannot make another person show love and compassion, empathy, and kindness. We see that in our day-to-day lives. And this is not to say we don't see love and compassion in people, because we do, but that's not what we're talking about. We see some people helping communities and standing up for the most vulnerable on a consistent basis. And this is wonderful. But today, our focus is on gaining a better understanding why people behave badly. So bear with me today. Go on this journey with me. We're going to touch on 8 reasons why some people behave the way they do, causing others emotional pain. Now, none of the reasons we are talking about here today, don't get me wrong, this not to give people excuses for behaving badly. If you or someone you know is behaving that way, the onus is on them, or it's on you to go and get the help that's needed for lasting and impactful change in that behavior. So no, this isn't about excuses, but it's about understanding. Because understanding anything helps to empower you to do whatever you need to do in that instance. So number 1 is stress and frustration. People often act out when they're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or frustrated. These feelings can trigger negative behavior, especially if they lack healthy coping mechanisms or healthy coping skills. Any of us can fall in that category if we have stressful lives, stress on our jobs, in our marriage, in our relationships. But what we're also talking about is almost everybody has some type of stress and frustration. But everybody don't act badly. They don't exhibit bad behavior because they're stressed out. They have coping mechanisms. They know to go do their deep breathing. They know to listen to relaxing music. They know to go get a manicure, go get a pedicure. They know to go call up friends and, meet for coffee or something. They have people they can talk to when they're feeling stress and frustration. And some people just need to be by themselves and get in a quiet place, close their eyes, and just do some meditation. Again, those are coping mechanisms. That's what we use. We don't just blurt out our frustration on other people to hurt them. If everybody did that, we'd be in worse shape than the world is now. So yes, we all can have stress and frustration, but we don't all have to behave badly, and we don't. We find coping mechanisms to help ourselves, and that's fair. Number 2 is lack of empathy or understanding. Some people may not fully understand or care about the impact of their actions on others. A lack of empathy can lead to hurtful or inconsiderate behavior. And don't we see that every day on these social media streets? Well, I say the social media streets, but Lord knows we see that if we watch the news, if we turn on certain channels on YouTube. Just a lack of empathy. And people are doing it with their full chest like it's okay. Now, they may not fully understand it, but once people start talking to you about it, you should try and do something about it. And if they don't, well, we don't have to allow that in our lives. So, a lack of empathy or understanding. Again, some people may not fully understand or care. Key word here, or care about the impact of their action on others. And we see that. And we know that it leads to hurtful and inconsiderate behavior. We see that. And again, we don't have to allow that in our lives. Number 3, learned behavior. Behavior can be learned from childhood, family dynamics, or social groups. If a person grows up in an environment where poor behavior is normalized, they may adapt those patterns. And why would they adopt those patterns? Because that's the world they know. That's what they see all day, every day. So that's what they see, so that's what they do. We see that behavior every day in politics. Shameful enough, in the royal family and many others who feel entitled to whatever they want regardless of how it negatively affects anybody else's life. That is both sad and pathetic. But it's a learned behavior. And again, there's no excuses for any of this. Because if you can learn a behavior, you can unlearn it. If you can learn this behavior, you can learn a different one. The onus is still on that person. It's not on you and I. Now, number 4 is mental health issues. Mental health struggles such as depression, anxiety, or personality disorders can lead to negative or erratic behavior. When people are dealing with inner turmoil, it can sometimes manifest in ways that affects others. We saw the manifestation of this behavior when Megan announces anything. Actually, it's her mere existence that seemed to trigger some people. I heard a lady the other day while Megan was being dragged into something that had nothing to do with her. She was like, well, when are we going to stop every time anything happens, say it's Megan's fault? She went on to say, someday a meteor will probably hit this earth. I'm not saying that. That's what she said. She's saying you guys will no doubt find a way to say the meteor hitting the earth was Megan's fault. And I know she said it to be sarcastic to try and get them to see just how asinine their behavior is. To anything happen with anybody in another country that she's not even in that country, and they put it on her. I'm using her as an example because sadly, the way that woman is treated by people, there are people in every one of these on here, 1 through 8, And we're just at number 4 right now. But I'm not going to use her an example for each one, but she's in the person. I hope they will someday teach this in school about how one person can trigger so many people because of their entitlement, their biases, their jealousy, or whatever it may be, to hate somebody they don't even know, never met. And if it's mental health issues, there's help out there for that. There's still no excuse. If you stay in that, it's because you want to stay in it. You somewhere inside of people, unless they are like totally gone, they know when they're doing wrong. And a lot of people that are doing this, regarding this woman, they're doing it for clicks and to make money. Can you imagine going to bed every night knowing that you're going to get up tomorrow and hate on someone you don't know again for money? Who in the world think that's okay? But we don't have to allow it in our space. That's the good news. Number 5, unresolved trauma or past experiences. Now, traumatic events, especially those from childhood or previous relationships, can cause individuals to react in ways that might be hurtful to others, often without fully realizing it. And now this could happen to any of us if we've been through some things. But changes can be made when engaged in therapeutic work, working with a professional to work through those traumas. And that's how you gain emotional healing. And there's work to be done for that. These people that have gone through traumas in their life, we have to give these people grace and some space in this instance. But it still is on them to go get some help to work through the traumas. You know you've been through a lot of things, and you're stuffing it. You're pushing it down because you don't want to think about it. Well, when you stuff it and push it down, it finds its way out. How does it find its way out? In depression, anxiety, negativity, bad behavior toward others because you're hurting and broken. In every case, no, again, nothing is across the board. Some people have all this trauma and they still don't exhibit bad behavior toward other people. And some do. And giving these people a bit of extra grace is important. But even so, the onus is still on that person, that individual, to get the professional help that they need. It would help them. It would make their lives so much better. And that's my hope for everyone. Now, I can speak to that because of all the trauma I've endured in my life. And nobody had to urge me to go to counseling. I knew it was needed, so I did what I needed to do because I wanted to be healed. I wanted to be better. And I wasn't out there hurting other people because of it. I was just extremely sad and anxious and feeling lonely all the time. So it behooves anybody that's been traumatized, if you're listening to my voice today and you've had trauma in your life, you have gone through some things. No matter who the person was that put you through it, you went through it. And trauma changes you in ways that you don't even realize until you go get the help you need. It can mess with your self-esteem. It can make you feel like nobody cares, and that's a lie. People do care. But that's what that trauma will tell you. It'll tell you you're not good enough. That trauma will tell you you shouldn't even be around. That trauma will tell you that nobody will ever love you. It's all a lie. It's not true. We have professional help out there for a reason. If you've been traumatized, get the help you need. You don't need to keep suffering in silence. feeling uncomfortable in your own skin. I went through all of that, so I know about trauma. If I don't know anything else, I know about that. So I advise you to get the help you need. Number 6 is entitlement or narcissism. Some people may behave badly because they feel entitled or superior to others. Narcissistic tendencies, where a person believes they are better or more important than others, can contribute to selfish or harmful behavior. And people in this category are all over social media. They're the main people who are fond of projecting their tendencies onto someone else. Let me read this again. Entitlement or narcissism. Some people may behave badly because they feel entitled or superior to others. Narcissistic tendencies, where a person believes they are better or more important than others, can contribute to selfish or harmful behavior. And we have all seen people that have been in this category. We have all well, if you haven't had to deal with them, now good for you. But most of us run across these people somewhere in our careers. Oh yes, in our families. Sometimes it's not funny, but sometimes in the grocery store, you can be anywhere and run across somebody that's just mad at you and never laid eyes on you before until this day. But the way they will approach you is like you had to have been at their house and did something to their cat or their dog, and they don't even know you. And these are the main people that are, again, fond of projecting their tendencies onto other people, and they do that on social media. Every time you look around, somebody they don't like, there's narcissistic, labeling people being narcissistic. Wonder why you're saying that all the time. Shouldn't you probably go look at the person in the mirror and kind of do some introspection and find out why you think everybody is narcissistic? That is pure projection, and I wish you would understand that and do something about it. Number 7, lack of consequences. Sometimes people behave badly because they don't face consequences for their actions. And we all know that without accountability or punishment, there's less incentive for anybody to change their behavior. Do we not see that with the British royal family, British tabloid press, and all of the people in the media who are an extension of conveying that family's thoughts and feelings of jealousy and their dislike of certain individuals? And that's not just in the royal family. That's right here in the United States. And that's not just right here in the United States. That's all over the world where you have people living, you have this behavior. That's going on everywhere. And it's up to us, the individual, to set boundaries to protect our emotional selves. Some things we need to turn off, don't listen to, don't engage with. And when it's in our families, we can set healthy boundaries with those family members and we can love that. Not that we don't love people, but you can love somebody and still maintain a healthy boundary with them. You can love people and not allow them to walk all over you. I always tell people, God did not call us to a ministry of doormatism. We're not to be doormats for anyone. Number 8, and the last one on my list today, is insecurity. That's a huge one, insecurity. That's when a person is feeling insecure about themselves or their situation, which can lead to defensive or aggressive behavior. Absolutely. And people may act out as a way of protecting their ego or compensating for their vulnerabilities. You know, like grabbing your brother by the collar and throwing him down to the floor and injuring his back. You know, that kind of aggression. Lying on somebody about something. Putting somebody down because you feel insecure. You can always locate a person who's insecure about what they do and what they say. Insecure people always have something negative to say about somebody else. They're always trying to big up whatever it is they're doing and push down whatever somebody else is doing. They'll see somebody doing something wonderful and they'll talk badly about it, but then you'll see them copying it. They're insecure. They don't feel good about themselves. When you're being mean like that and hating on about somebody for no reason and constantly putting them down, you may as well go stand on the mountaintop and say, I don't feel good about myself. I'm insecure, because that's what you're showing us in your actions. And we don't have to put up with that. The onus is on these people, on these behaviors that we're talking about. The people that exhibit these behaviors, the onus is on them to do something better. The main thing about knowing where this behavior comes from is the knowledge that we don't have to allow it in our lives. We can't change it, but we don't have to put up with it either. Again, we cannot change other people's behavior, but we can change how we respond to it. For my response is your absence in my life. If you refuse to change, if you refuse to go get the help you need, then I refuse to allow you to take up space in my life. And I think that's only fair, don't you? Why should we put up with that? We don't have to. There was a time when the trauma that I went through and all insecurities that I had, I thought I had to put up with other people's insecurities and mistreating me. And I was like, I don't know how much more can pile on me. I'm barely keeping head above water now. And thank God I got the help that I needed, because I was walking around feeling like I was drowning all the time. Like the weight of the world was on me all the time. You know, we could go into all kinds of reasons why people behave badly, but that almost feels like a waste of time in this climate to just go on and on with it. The issue is people won't change what they won't acknowledge. And that's the reason why. If they don't acknowledge that something is wrong, can you really see them going to get help for something that they don't think they need help for because they don't have it? It's not, nothing's wrong. On our part, ours is accepting. It's acceptance that people are going to be who they are. It's key to keeping our peace and maintaining our boundaries. If we just accept they are who they are, stop thinking we're going to wake up and one day and they're going to be magically changed. Yeah, if they acknowledge they need to change and go get the professional help they need and, I don't know, read books, do whatever they need to do to make some changes. But us wishing it away doesn't work. They have to want to get better. This I know for sure. You cannot change another person. Only they can take steps to make that happen for themselves. I know in this podcast we talk a lot about loving people, and we should be walking in love toward people. Just to be clear, we do love people. Indeed we do. But in loving people, we still don't have to allow people to cross our boundaries and disrupt our lives because they don't want to change and do better. Some people in your life, I can speak for myself, some people in my life I've learned I have to love from afar. That has happened. I still love those people. I can talk to them now and again, and the conversations are not long, but they don't have close proximity to me because every time I let a few years pass and, well, maybe they done changed and got better, and because I wasn't around them, they could have got some help. They sound like they're doing a little bit better when I talk to them on the phone, and you let them back in, I see all the same behaviors. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Just know how to talk a little bit better and put up a better front on the phone. But when you spend any length of time with them, you find out they're the same old, same old. So, everybody have to make their own decision. And the name of this podcast for the the entirety of it, is though we pick different topics, is the power of choice, because we know what we choose really touches on every area of our lives. And I started this podcast and my YouTube channel because I felt I had something to say. And I really do want to utilize this platform to encourage people, to let people know you're not alone in whatever you're going through. Any difficult situations you find yourself in your life, you are not alone. And to remind people and encourage people that, you have the power of choice on how you live your life, on what you will and will not tolerate. And yes, we want you to be kind and be understanding, but with good, healthy boundaries. Yeah, you can trust people until they give you a reason not to. But don't allow the same thing to happen countless times before you save yourself. That's all I have for today. So thanks for listening to the Power of Choice podcast today. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button and share this podcast with someone who could use a little inspiration in their own journey and a little bit more knowledge on today's subtitle of why people behave the way they do. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, take care. And remember, every choice you make has the power to make your life better.